I don't even want to talk about the game because it's over.
Yeah.
Dyer DeRozan, shout out to you, but we fucking lost because you weren't there.
But big changes I expected to
Big
happen.
changes are expected from the
off-season.
Toronto Raptors. A lot of people believe if Fred VanVleet has some quotes about you can spend years of trying to tell people to be more, what do you say? More mature about maturity, and it's up to them to make the change or whatever. So maybe he's 1 foot out the door. I don't know. Could it make? I don't want to.
Pascal's his longest teammate. OG. Those are the longest guys he's really played with.
I feel like maturity and Pascal. I feel like with that championship run, maybe it is Scotty just because it's year 2. And there were some things, if y'all remember the offseason, about his workout stuff, how he would come into the gym for an hour and then leave. But he was saying that, like, I was working with my other trainers for another couple hours, but there were some rumors about him not being locked in during the offseason, and that's why he struggled through the first month and a half of the year or whatever. But it's obviously at somebody. About the maturity aspect. So he might be 1 foot out of the door. Only problem is, Freddie, for the teams that have money, you're going to a team that lack maturity too. You're going to the Houston Rockets, my boy, you know. But a lot of changes on the way, and that got people thinking, like, what could that possibly mean? Fred VanVleet might be 1 foot out of the door, but like OG Anunoby was in a lot of trade rumors all season long, stayed around. Pascal Siakam got a couple years left on his contract, all-star caliber player. Gary Trent Jr. is a free agent this offseason. So this team could look dramatically different. But they also gave up a 2024 first-round pick to get Jakob Poeltl. So are they making changes for a rebuild, or are they retooling? Because we don't even have a 2024 first-round pick. Why tank?
To me, it's going to be one of them times it feels like that, kind of like the Houston Rockets mode. Where
that 2024 pick can be replaced, though, easily. If you trade OG or Pascal Siakam, you get the back.
Y'all remember like how the Houston Rockets, especially with James Harden, it felt like they were only going to play one brand of basketball, especially with Mike D'Antoni. It just feels like this Raptors is only going to stick to that 6'8" frame and kind of keep going with that. Unless they blow it up, or like somehow, I feel like with Scotty having that mode, they just going to stick to that.
Yeah, I'm more so in favor of them just blowing it. I think you've seen this team selling, and it just kind of seems like it's inevitable that they're not really going to make far.
They don't have a number one at all.
Yeah,
they don't. I think that's kind of the issue too, and it's kind of cool for teams to not that everybody can get it. But when it's late in game, it just don't look right, because obviously you have Pascal, who's your best player, but number one option, he's not. He could put up the best in the numbers, but when it comes down to it, he's not that type of guy. And then also we already know Freddie's not that either. So it's just like they need a legit guy, and that's what Kawhi was when them.
Yeah, they've been that away. They've been that piece away, and it's just like,
how do we get that
piece
without
even Scotty? You know what I mean? Your young player, his game doesn't project to be a number one option that you just give the ball to and everybody get out their way. So I'm in agreement. I think blow it up. You got Scotty. You have your pick this year. Get some more picks and just try to rebuild in a certain way.
What teams would be interested in Pascal?
Sacramento Kings,
the Blazers, the Kings, the Heat. The Heat's going to be interested in everybody, but they don't really have any assets to trade.
I just think Pascal's the tougher guy to trade because of his contract. You know, it's not that it's a bad contract; it's just a bigger contract.
A lot of people had to gut their roster a little bit.
And OG Anunoby feels like even though you be trading him for 1 year potentially.
Pacers.
I did see some Pacers photoshops of OG Anunoby for sure, but apparently they got offered a couple, like 3 first-round picks for him at the deadline, and they said, "Nah, we good." Same thing with Mikal Bridges. Somebody, the Memphis Grizzlies offered 3 first-round picks for him, and they're like, "Nah, we good." Those 3-and-D players are super valuable right now, but I think they're being overvalued by their front offices. Now, Mikal has turned into more than 3-and-D, but maybe OG could do that as well with a bigger role. I don't know. I'm very curious because Masai's never been a break-it-down type guy. He's always tried to retool. So we will see. How many teams in the NBA right now have blow-it-up potential this offseason? Like, even though there's not a big free agency class, I think this could be a crazy offseason. We got Toronto, who've already said they're making changes.
Potentially.
Blazers, Bulls, Raptors.
And
Wizards, the Wizards already said
the Heat feel like they're on the line.
Yeah.
That's 5 already.
Mm-hmm.
Any
that's about it.
conference teams?
Not really.
No, most of those are like Blazers, competing or like really young.
Because Dame is talking.
Yeah, that's about it. We got a 5.
Which is pretty good. That's a 6th of the league that might be blowing.
That's a lot of stars that can get moved around.
Yeah.
So I love the parity of the league. If that happens, and sheesh.
Maybe that messes up the parity, though.
Yeah,
Well,
because
for some super teams.
Yeah.
I was gonna say also it could for teams like the Raptors that are in that mix, if they're kind of looking at that too, like we're already gonna have just naturally probably like 4 or 5 bottom feeders, and then also teams that blow it up. As long as we're in that top 20 team, we could kind of still be right back in that mix. You know?
Or the Raptors may feel like, hey, we know a lot of these teams are on the edge. We're gonna be one of the teams that's trying to make some trades.
That playing gives a lot of teams faith, and we've been talking about this whole year. So I don't know. It's gonna be weird to see how many teams actually just like fold their hands, because 35 plus games could damn near get you right in that mix, you know. And it wasn't always like that.
Yeah, but that playing for the play-in shit is overrated. I think that's for teams that are like young and coming up and like they fun, like the Thunder and the Timberwolves. That stuff is exciting for them. But like a veteran team like the Raptors, they're not really young. So like they want to be up there in the conference and be like locked in. They're not that. So if you're like an older team playing for the play-in, just no.
Yeah, it really goes down to the offenses too, because some teams be okay with just being subpar.
Yeah,
you know, and I feel like that's just how things are.
I guess unless it's like an anomaly year where your team starts off really slow, y'all have injuries, maybe like the Lakers. Now y'all in the 7th seed, and it looks a little bit better for you. So I guess there is a plus to it. You do have that wiggle room.
That's what I look at it as, like teams who may have an injury and you can come back and you're not really out of it, and you can boom, hit a stride and get right back into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Not necessarily being a veteran team saying, let's get to the play-in.
Yeah, but we did definitely see some of that this year.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Definitely seen some of that.